from Studio 13 in California, you're listening to Wildcard with your hosts, John.
Wait, hold on. Let me establish this. You are agreeing that a room temperature can be sexist.
And Conor.
The temperature in this studio is homophobic.
I just spit out my water.
A show with news and butt jokes.
Hello, and welcome to this episode of Wildcard. We have got quite the episode for you today. We start off when Conor receives maybe the worst selfie ever. Then Conor explains to me why the temperature of an office building is sexist. And in the second half of the show, we do the Afterburn. We learn about everything that happened at Burning Man. We invite a guest in. We talk about Conor's burn. Did they breastfeed a ferret? Did they make sweet, sweet dust love? Everything you ever wanted to know about Burning Man, and maybe some things you didn't. So find a world tragedy, make your best duck face, and take a selfie for this edition of Wildcard. I have to admit, although I myself did not travel to the People's Playa, I feel tired and a little bit worn out. And I know later in the show, we're actually going to have a full segment, a recap on the Burning Man, if you will.
You're in what we call the Afterburn.
Did you ever get an Afterburn from Grindr?
I have a bit of Grindr news that we can get to in a second.
Oh, I like Grindr news. Should we get to it right now?
Oh, you want to do it right now?
You want to talk about?
All right. So on the last episode, you invented a new segment that I can't remember what you called, but it was basically like, why I hate the millennials.
What the woke folk are doing.
No, not what the woke folk are doing. You had a millennial one, didn't you?
I don't think so.
Oh, well, let's create one. Because I feel like that's pretty much the basis of our show is you complaining about millennials.
Right. And you know, I already have a sound thing we can use for this.
Oh, great.
Jake Joseph Paul, and I was a savage from day one.
I'm Jake Joseph Paul, and I was a savage from day one.
Oh, Jake Joe. So the other day, I get an unsolicited pic on Grindr. And I'm looking at this pic, and it's just a selfie. It's just a selfie.
Do you ever get nervous when you get an unsolicited pic on the Grindr? Like, do you have to police where you are when you open it?
Yeah, yes.
Now, those don't just pop up on the screen.
No.
Right? You've got that on lockdown?
Yeah, no, you have to know where you are, because, like, you don't want to do it on the subway, you know?
How often does one get an unsolicited Grindr pic?
Constantly.
Like, no one can, I guess anyone can send me a text with a picture, but is Grindr the same? Like, you don't have to know them, they can just send you a pic?
Right, yeah, I mean, that's the whole point, is you just show up as you're nearby, and then people will just start flooding pictures, and they can be normal, and they can be super bizarre. The picture that I received was just a selfie of a guy's face, good-looking guy, but I start looking at the picture more closely, and I'm like, I know what that is. It was these rectangular vertical columns, and this pretty distinctive small grid kind of concrete tile ground covering. And I'm like, I've been there. It's the freaking Holocaust Memorial in Berlin.
Oh, bullshit.
Swear to God.
Bullshit.
I have the picture. I will show it to you. He sent me...
Okay, hold on. Was this some kind of joke?
No.
Or was a normal person supposed to know that this was the Holocaust Museum?
No, it was just a selfie that probably in this kid's mind just happened to be taken in the middle of the Holocaust Memorial. And,
okay.
And I was just there a couple years ago, so I recognized it pretty quickly.
Is the floor that recognizable, or is it just like a travertine that could be anyone, any big hall?
Have you been there?
I have not. So I've been to Dachau.
For people who haven't been to this one in Berlin, it's relatively new, and it is these rectangular columns that increase in height as you get into it, and it's a very overpowering experience when you're in there because they start really short, which I think maybe a symbol for the children who were killed, but also the idea is that as you walk further into it, it becomes more overwhelming and overpowering. And then it's got these square tiles on the ground.
You know who it didn't overwhelm with emotion?
This guy.
Yeah.
So
Grindr 36 was not overwhelmed with emotion.
So I write back and I'm like, Holocaust Memorial? ? He blocks me. Because God forbid you challenge a millennial on where they take their selfie.
Holy shit. I'm sorry, but what was the lighting fantastic? Like, what was it about that moment? Or is it just that they take so many selfies that it's a blanket effect? It's at every place they are, I better take a selfie because it might be great.
Yeah, and if I look good in that picture, who cares where I happen to be, because that's my selfie. So I went down this rabbit hole.
Level.
I went down this rabbit hole and I started Googling selfie Holocaust memorial, and it's apparently a thing. There were
No.
If you do a Google image search, there are pictures of kids, and when I say kids, I mean like 20-somethings, jumping across the different rectangles because they're pretty close together. There are pictures of people doing duck face in front of the memorial.
Okay, I'm looking up right now. I'm looking up Holocaust selfie. I hope these are fucking Photoshop.
No. So that's, people have started creating these memes where they juxtapose the selfies that people take at the memorial with historic pictures from the Holocaust, so that maybe people can get a sense of how wrong what they're doing is. Yeah. So
my God. Okay, sorry. Let me describe this because this. Okay. So one of the things that I also hate, in addition to everything else in this world, is the fact that these people who are the Instagram folk, they do these millennial poses. Well, they'll do some stupid yoga pose, or they do the jump up in the air and kick the legs back, or they do the reaching back like they're leading their boyfriend on an epic journey. It's like a point of view.
Mm-hmm.
So this woman is doing a yoga pose like a standing star.
It's like a downward facing swan or something.
Yes, but she is doing it on the cement blocks that, in my mind, represent the unnamed caskets of the people lost in the Holocaust.
Yeah.
It says, "Yoga is my connection with the world around me."
No.
Smiley face.
Oh my God. You know, the important thing there is that it's all about me.
Yep.
This isn't about the 6 million people who are killed. No, this is about how much I like yoga.
Holy shit, look at these people.
Yeah.
They're jumping from casket
across
to casket.
Yeah.
Who fucking thinks it's okay to walk, let alone the selfie? Who thinks it's okay to walk on the caskets?
Right. Yeah, like I went to Arlington and was jumping across the crosses. People are fucking clueless.
People are awful. I blame the parents.
But look at the ones, there's a few of them that you pulled up there where people have juxtaposed pictures of the selfies that people take with historical images. Yeah, there you go. So that is somebody taking a selfie. That's in the memorial, right? And then
I'm sorry to laugh at this, but I laughed because of what an ass it makes the person look like, not because of the content, obviously. But it is someone jumping from mass grave. They juxtaposed the jumping from cement block to cement block to look like they're jumping from pile of mass grave to pile of mass grave, which is essentially what you're doing.
Yeah. But, you know, I think it's important to fight back against this cluelessness in the format that these people understand, which is an Instagram meme.
Well done. Oh, now we have the same lady doing her yoga pose amongst the people who were who
amongst
died.
a street full of dead bodies.
Yes, and that's really what that is.
Yeah. But John, yoga is so important to me.
Here's the other photo I told you you'd find, the cliche jump with the knees up.
Unbelievable.
Wow. Well, thank you for taking me down this rabbit hole. I now feel better about society.
It really does make you hate people. So look at that kid smiling there, taking a selfie.
Look at this person. This person actually, I saw this before.
No.
Look this up because this made news.
Princess Brianna.
This is at Princess BMM. This made news, I want to say, like a year or two ago. I remember this now that I see the photo. She is taking a smiling selfie in Auschwitz.
And then captions it, "Selfie in the Auschwitz concentration camp, smiley emoji."
Yeah, if you want to feel bad about society, just go ahead and Google selfie in Auschwitz, and you'll get this maybe 16-year-old looking person.
Oh, my God.
I sincerely hope this is like, do you remember that gal that, I want to say this like a few years ago, she made like a really racist tweet. Like she was going to Africa. And it was something about I won't catch HIV because I'm white or something.
She was on her layover in London en route to Africa, and while in the airport in London, she twittered, "On my way to wherever she was going in Africa, I hope I don't get AIDS. Just kidding, haha, I'm white." And while she was on the flight,
yes, the Twitter sphere went ballistic.
The internet basically unleashed holy fury on her, and by the time she landed, she had like lost her job, lost her friends.
That's awesome.
Yeah,
By the way.
yeah.
There are a few situations where social media is right.
Yeah.
These are the times where I'm like, well done, social media.
Well,
Thank you for that.
I mean, I wanted to yell at this guy on Grindr. You're trying to hook up with dudes.
Can you not put that guy on blast?
He blocked me.
You have 7 Twitter followers. Don't you still have the photo?
I have the photo.
I would put, this needs to be a thing. Got to be websites that care about these things.
I would hope so. I don't know. I mean, I really just wanted the opportunity to tell the guy what a dipshit he was.
That's why you do this. Here's what we do. We're going to submit this to, are there websites that kind of, I'm sure there are, that kind of focus on gay news, etc.
Yeah.
We need to send this to them and be like, we need to find out who this horde person is because he's sending out Holocaust selfies as his Grindr.
Yeah.
It's not just a selfie. It's a hookup website. The guy is... Yeah. That's levels I did not understand.
Yeah, when it came in, I couldn't believe it. I did a bunch of image searches just to be 100% sure. I mean, I could tell that it was a Memorial, but just to be 100% sure, I'm like, is this idiot really sending me this picture? And then I didn't get the opportunity to yell at him because he blocked me.
That's unfortunate.
Because, you can't call him out on it.
Oh,
Yoga's
man.
very important to me.
Well, that is... well, we've gone from the burn to other ways of self-actualizing oneself with the world, and that is taking selfies at Holocaust museums. So, well done, world. Thanks.
I hate people.
Now that we did, I guess, a new segment, what are the millennials doing? We had what the woke folk are doing, and we also had, and I said last time, that we need to contribute each show to our gripes. And last show, we had some gripes. We talked about your gripe about people saying winner, winner, chicken dinner.
Hate that.
And what's funny is you said right after that, and people that say cool beans.
Yes.
I was laughing after our show talking to my wife, and I said, yeah, Conor brought up this thing where he hates when people say winner, winner, chicken dinner. She's like, yeah, I hate that and cool beans. So it was like the exact same thing.
I've always been pro Judy.
So I need to write these down. After today's show, I'm going to start the gauntlet, because remember, we're going to put them against each other.
Yes.
So we'll do phrase against phrase.
Yeah.
So I will put, for those that didn't hear last week, we're going to have kind of like a gripe off. Mm-hmm. We're both grumpy, angry individuals. So Conor will pit people who say winner, winner, chicken dinner. I will put down people who say it's 5 o'clock somewhere before they have a beer.
Yeah.
And then that will have a battle royale, and the winner of that will compete against people who are really annoying about cheersing.
Yeah, also, I would like to make a new entrance, which you committed last night, which is people who unnecessarily and ridiculously shorten words in ways that they should not be shortened. So you and I were talking last night, and you were like, oh, yeah, I really liked last week's sode, as in episode of the webcast. Yeah. So please enter people like John who shorten words unnecessarily.
Damn it. That is strong.
Also, do we even want to enter inappropriate selfies? Or that's not even a gripe.
Here's
that's
the problem. That's not a gripe. That's just the worst of humanity.
Yeah. That's next level.
You can't enter Auschwitz selfie into the competition because it wins. Like, hands down.
Yeah. No, that's not a gripe. That's a, wow, I really hate humanity.
Yes. You bring up people saying sode, which...
People don't say that. You said that.
Damn it. Yeah, that's really bad. That's like when people say Insta.
Do you ever say something and the minute it leaves your mouth, you're like, why did I say that?
Every moment of every day. And so what do? I got a radio show.
Yeah, exactly.
The one that bothers me, and I did it earlier, which is when people use the language of origin to say something. I find this a lot with Spanish-speaking people, but more with people who are whitish but want to show that they're bilingue. And so they... instead, they're like, oh, yeah, I went to lunch with my friends down in LA. There's this amazing burrito van. And you're just like, don't say that. Don't ever say that again. That's been a gripe of mine. And then I heard maybe the best use of it I have ever heard. Allow me to introduce one of my favorite people and someone we should speak about more on the show, Steven Segal.
Oh, Steven Segal.
I don't know if you know this, but Steven Segal is now some sort of dignitary. He's a Russian citizen.
What?
Yeah. He got no work for the past, 10 years. I believe he became like a police officer along with Shaq in like Louisiana.
Louisiana, yeah.
And then from
I think
there...
it's just like a weekend course and you get a badge.
Yeah. So from there, he ate Shaq and then, and then moved to Russia where you can eat people and they don't arrest you for it. And this is an interview he did with Good Morning Britain, where he is talking about the prime minister or the president or whatever of Russia, Vladimir Putin.
Well, he's the president.
Okay,
I think
that
the prime. I don't know.
Allow me to play you my favorite clip.
For anyone to think that Vladimir Putin
I'm going to play it like 10 times because it doesn't get
please
old.
Play that again.
for anyone to think that Vladimir Putin
You know what's funny? It sounds more French than Russian.
It's like he goes into this complete. He just harnesses whatever bad Russian, whatever bad Russian guy he fought in any of his movies.
Exactly.
He's like, when I was talking to Vladimir Putin,
It's like the bad guy from Cruise Ship 7.
and there are compilations of this. This is where again I love the internet. So here is
for
Funny or Die's
anyone
remix.
to think that Vladimir Putin had anything to do with fixing the elections is stupid. Vladimir Putin. Vladimir Putin.
Vladimir Putin. Vladimir Putin.
Vladimir Putin. Vladimir Putin.
Yeah. I feel like this needs to be. If I went back to Burning Man, I would play the EDM hit Vladimir Putin.
We really do need more Steven Seagal on this show.
That's it. We need a Steven Seagal segment.
Okay.
We just keep adding segments.
All right.
We have gripes. We have millennials.
What the woke folk are doing.
What the woke folk are doing.
And Steven Seagal.
And Steven Seagal.
Were you done? Because I actually have an entry in the What the woke folk are doing.
Okay. Go ahead.
This one is funny because I'm not sure. You might actually agree with me or you might think it's ridiculous, but I think this is actually valid. And the question is, can a room temperature be sexist?
Wow.
Yeah.
Hold on. Let me think about this because I have mistakenly removed agency from many things in my environment that I had no idea were both racialist and sexist. Can a room temperature be sexist?
Well, let me give you the background because I actually think this is true.
Wait, hold on. Let me establish this. You are agreeing that a room temperature can be sexist.
Yes.
You are woke AF, and we need a segment called How Woke is Conor because you are becoming a normal millennial from an elder millennial.
I think once I explain it, you might be with me on this. To be honest with you, for me, it has less to do with sexism and more to do with just massive waste of resources because I'm an environmentalist and stuff. But in preparation for the debate between New York Governor Andrew Cuomo and Sex and the City actress Cynthia Nixon, who's his challenger for the Democratic nomination, there were debates about what temperature the room should be. Cynthia Nixon's team feared that she could be disadvantaged by freezing temperatures at the venue. They demanded that the temperature of the room be 76 degrees, and her strategist, a woman by the name of Rebecca Katz, wrote that working conditions are, quote, notoriously sexist when it comes to room temperature.
Did she offer any explanation of how a temperature could be sexist?
A 2015 study published in the journal Nature Climate Change,
yes, I read it weekly,
found that most office buildings still set their temperatures based on men's metabolic rates. It concluded that the average comfortable level for men is about 72 degrees, but women prefer 77. And here's the thing. Men wear these ridiculous ensembles of like multiple pieces of wool, regardless of what the weather or the climate is outside. It's these suits from 18th century tycoons that we still wear, and they're super uncomfortable and super hot. And
that's the sexism.
Well, okay.
Society is forcing us to dress like a circus monkey for women.
Maybe so, and by maybe I mean no, but okay. But women, on the other hand, if you think about what they typically wear, usually their legs are exposed, often their shoulders, their arms. If you ever go into a building in a tank top, it's actually kind of chilly because you don't have any covering.
So what you're saying is that the cooler temperature is slut-shaming them because it is keeping them from wearing skirts and lower-cut tops. It is forcing them to cover up. It is not only sexist, it is slut-shaming. Damn you, 72 degrees, you horrible person. That's it. Hashtag no 72 needs to start trending.
77 is where it should be. But have you ever gone into an office building or like a casino or a department store and
Yes.
it's freaking freezing? It's like uncomfortably cold, regardless of what the temperature is outside.
How is a woman supposed to take a nap at her desk when the temperature is 72 degrees?
Okay, I'm going to change this segment to John is a sexist boob because clearly I am not capable of having a serious conversation with my idiot co-host. You are an idiot.
I was simply trying to see what a person that was sexist would say in that situation.
Oh, okay. Yeah, that was role playing.
Research.
Yeah, got
It's
it.
what every politician who gets caught surfing porn, when he tweets something with a screenshot.
I was
and it
studying
shows-
how to censor it.
There you go.
Yeah. Yeah, well, we need to censor you. But anyway, I think it's valid. I think that the vast majority of places...
You think it's valid?
I think it's valid that the vast majority of places are too freaking cold. Do you know how much energy that consumes?
That's true. But that doesn't make it sexist. It is moronic. And here's the problem. It really comes back on this is such a detriment to women and such a disservice. And if I was actually a voter, I wouldn't vote for Cynthia Nixon for this reason. When you have real problems, and I think that there are legitimate, institutionalized, sexist aspects of society, wow, that was smooth as silk. For those to change, for example, the Me Too movement when it started, and stop rolling your eyes, 'cause I'm making a real legitimate point here.
I will withhold judgment.
For the Me Too movement, when the Me Too movement began, I actually think it shed some light on some very important aspects, some areas where men in positions of power were abusing that power and women didn't have the ability to speak up, didn't have the ability to have their voice heard, wouldn't believed, whatever it was. Now you get to a point where people are saying, he wanted the debate at 71 degrees, hashtag Me Too. What you're actually doing, to use their own phrasing, is you're taking agency away from the people with actual fucking problems. So my point is, if you cry wolf all the time, no one pays attention to you. And so by Cynthia Nixon saying that temperature is sexist, you're taking away, that takes away the steam of someone like Ashley Judd coming out and saying she was sexually assaulted by Harvey Weinstein. That's my opinion.
Let me ask you some questions. Would you agree that the temperature in most office buildings is set to a point that better accommodates what men wear than what women wear?
Truth be told, I have never thought about it. Secondarily, who gives a shit? Put on a jacket. Like, really, is this a problem? Part of life is living in a world where, look, someone's taking a photo of a building. I am going to walk around them on the sidewalk because we live in a fucking society. You're saying that there is no better way to spend one's time than saying that temperature is sexist? It may better accommodate whoever sets the damn thermostat. If that person who sets the thermostat is a woman, then it probably better accommodates whatever that woman wears.
Then it's going to be like 95.
I don't think there is a concerted tin hat conspiracy, and maybe Alex Jones knows something about this, but to temperature price women out of the work environment.
No, I think it's just a legacy of male dominance in the workplace that creates an environment where things are set to what the men in the office want.
Women, technically, biologically, carry more body fat than men. The average woman has a higher percentage of body fat than men. Therefore, she should run warmer if we were all naked. So, I mean, you can
Well, that's true.
bifurcate this down to different levels.
Don't use bifurcate just because I used it in the last episode. I'm not impressed.
The suit that men wear is a thing of the past. You go down to Silicon Valley, it's all T-shirts and
I know.
shorts and flip-flops. So
Thank God for that.
By that argument, wouldn't the temperature then be sexist against men? If you're in a T-shirt, shorts, and flip-flop, and you have a woman, because of actual sexism, is forced to dress more professionally, shall we say, than a T-shirt, short, and flip-flops, so that she is noticed, promoted, etc., because of real sexism, as opposed to temperature.
Well, listen, this was actually all just a ruse to say that you have much higher body fat percentage than me, and it's very cold in this studio.
That would make me anti-gay?
Yes. The temperature in this studio is homophobic.
I just spit out my water. Damn fucking homo-hating studio with its 70... I'm sorry, what is the temperature? It's 72 degrees!
72 degrees is clearly
bigoted
homophobic.
Pig! I apologize.
I'm running 6% body fat.
This is how I look at it, Conor. Chances are you're coming in the studio fresh from a grinder sesh. You're going to be a little bit sweaty.
I was flipping through a bunch of hot selfies from the Holocaust Memorial.
I know how genocide gets you all worked up.
Oh, Jesus.
And so I figured let's keep the temperature in the studio down.
So he doesn't get too hot and bothered?
Yes.
Yeah. All right.
I think on that note, we have covered... Wow. This has been this has been a show that I did not expect. When we come back, it is time for the Afterburn. We are going to learn about Conor's experience on the playa. We're actually going to have my neighbor come in and talk about his burn, all that after these.
Wildcard is brought to you by
Coinbot. Access cryptocurrency pricing and market information right in your Slack or Telegram group. To add Coinbot for free to your group today, please visit coinbot.co. One more quick thing before we get back to the show. If you enjoy any Wildcard episodes, then go ahead and tell a friend. I know it may not seem like it, but this kind of drivel actually takes a lot of time and effort to cut together and to put out. So if you could share it with someone, help us grow. Also, please, 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 go to iTunes, take less than a minute to review the show. Just write up a few quick sentences, submit it. This is how people are going to find the show. Anyway, tell a friend, tell a neighbor, write a review.
Can you say, hello, you're listening to Wildcard?
Hello, you were wishing the wild card.
Last week we talked about Burning Man and the People's Playa, and I can't say that I was expecting to see what I'm seeing today. First of all, we have a guest with us today who wants to go by his playa name alone.
Which is?
It is Desert Waffle Muffin.
That's a mouthful. The infamous Western desert waffle muffin.
How would you say my burning outfit is? Desert Muffin has come in. This is going to be so difficult to get through with a straight face. Desert Muffin has come in.
Waffle muffin.
Waffle.
I'm sorry.
Don't forget the waffle.
Is that a playa offense? Is there playa jail? If you commit an offense,
I think there actually is.
Is there really?
I think so. There's a ton of cops out there.
How does one go to playa jail?
There are many, many ways you could find yourself in playa jail.
If you do not do radical self-expression, does one go to playa jail?
You could get radically imprisoned, yes. It's funny you ask, because with that scarf and that army shirt, you totally don't look like a narc at all. You blend right in.
I blend with the playa people?
No, not at all.
What would help my outfit?
Take the T-shirt off.
Take the T-shirt off. Let the nipples breathe.
Yes.
So, Desert Muffin,
Waffle.
Desert
Belgian
waffle
muffin.
Muffin.
I like Desert Muffin better.
It's
I'm
3
going
words.
with Desert Waffle Muffin.
Yeah.
Muffin.
Yeah.
It's Mr. Muffin to you.
Please describe what you were wearing at the moment. I feel like you've brought the playa into Studio 13.
I have a gingerbread and Christmas tree scarf. It's gorgeous. Okay. I got this at a thrift store for $1. I've got on a vest that I got for $15. It's a ladies' beautiful furry vest.
Really? That fur vest is a ladies'? I would have never known.
Ladies, yes, it's a little tight, but I think it shows off the guns.
Okay,
that's authentic capybara fur right there.
Yes,
I think it's nutria.
Yeah,
pretty sure in New York.
It's certainly some kind of rodent.
Yes,
and I didn't wear my skirt, but the skirt was fantastic on the playa. I wore that every single day.
Let me just make sure I heard that correctly. Did you say you did not wear your skirt?
I didn't wear it today, but I did every day on the playa.
Oh, yes.
Yes.
And how was the skirt freeing? Were we transitioning or just experiencing radical self-expression?
Ooh, probably more radical self-expression. It's super short in the front, so the crotch kind of almost shows. If I pull it up a little bit, the crotch totally shows. So I wore a Speedo, and the Speedo is multicolored, kind of like a rainbow flavored. I thought it was fantastic. It was a solid look.
I like that you went with the short skirt and then the hint of color on the Speedo, because that means that people are going to take a gander at the undercarriage. and you're like, you know what? I'm going to dress up the Down Under. I'm going to go with the rainbow flavor so that when my man skirt rides up, you know, when I am dancing and the beat drops.
Or standing over one of those desert subway tunnels like Marilyn Monroe.
Oh, that would be a look. So I keep talking about radical self-expression, etc. And the reason I keep talking about this is because I learned from our last show where I grilled Conor about how much I enjoyed Burning Man.
And so many other things.
And how much I just enjoy life in general. And I feel that one can find their true, authentic self by dressing up like a desert lunatic and pretending to be someone you aren't. That is how you find your authentic self, correct?
You have a lot of opinions. I listened back to that show and I thought, John just needs to sit by the fireplace and yell at things.
You're acting as though I don't do that. I just had my 8th wedding anniversary, and I'm pretty sure my wife wants out.
I'm amazed she's made it this far.
I could not be married to me for more than about a month. Desert Muffin has known me for a number of years and knows that I am an angry, angry individual.
Yes.
Who is not opinionated at all.
No, not in the least.
Okay.
It's good that you ground your opinions in facts and experience, though. instead of just rash conclusions and stereotypes.
None of it is conjecture.
I don't like things I don't know about.
I like that one of our fans posted on our Instagram or on Facebook that I am basically just that guy from The Simpsons who yells at the cloud.
Old man yells at cloud.
Old man yells at cloud.
No, I said that when we were recording the last episode, and I think you cut it out because it cut too close to home.
Okay, so from last episode to this episode, I found something that I had no idea existed. Before going to the burn and experiencing life at its most authentic, did you review the 10 principles of the Burning Man? Did you know that there were principles?
I did.
Conor? You did?
Yes.
And did you, Desert Muffin, did you...
Waffle. His middle name is important. His great-grandpa Waffle didn't die in the Civil War of the Desert for nothing.
Yes.
He didn't run out of pancakes to trade for glow sticks. And so he could not keep his all-night rave going. Speaking of anti-consumerism, or the total rebuke of capitalism as we know it, Principle 7.
Yeah.
Okay, I'm going to try not to fuck this up. Radical decommodification.
Wow, well done, John.
Disingenuity.
Ingenuitus.
Did you experience radical decommodification?
What does
And
that mean?
by decommodificating, I think that is a rebuke of capitalism, by which you create items and then give those in exchange to other people for other items that they have created and do like a barter system, which I kind of feel bad informing people that that's capitalism.
So it's not bartering.
So no, it's not bartering. The bartering, the gifting thing is actually.
Gifting is separate.
That's a different one. Yeah. So decommodification, and Sand Pancake may know about this too. But you'll see. So the place is full.
I like Sand Pancake.
Thank
better.
you. The place is full of various vehicles like U-Haul trucks, Penske trucks, Ryder trucks. Everybody's renting vehicles and all this large equipment to bring in. And, you know, your average U-Haul truck has U-Haul written in massive letters on all sides of it, right?
Yes.
But don't be displaying a corporate logo on the playa, broham. So what you end up with is people will take duct tape or paint or whatever, and they will change or cover the logo.
God.
So it's like U-Haul becomes haulin' ass. And then, of course, the best one is, you know, Penske. The Penske trucks.
What would they do with those?
Those, of course, just become penisy.
Ooh.
Ah,
Yeah.
yes.
Yeah.
Keeping it classy.
That's the closest I can see to decommodification. And then I had a T-shirt that I was wearing that had a logo on it, and I was like, I'm going to put it inside out.
Oh, seriously?
Well, truthfully, I put it inside out because it has a tag in the back, and it scratches my delicate skin.
We know how delicate your skin is.
Very, very
Especially when
delicate.
the
Speaking
playa
of,
dust got under
did
there.
you have a playa name, and was it one who walks with rashes?
No and no.
You know what would be a good playa name for you is Lollipop, because
Why?
your head is enormous.
It's like bobblehead doll. Yeah.
So I didn't get through these principles, and we seldom are able to stay on track here, so I do try to bring us back.
Please.
Item number 1 is radical inclusion.
Mm-hmm.
I understand how to include someone.
Mm-hmm.
I am unsure how to radically do that.
You tackle them
Tackle them.
and bring them back to your
Believe
playa
that's a Me
hut.
Too violation.
Your playa hut.
Can you drag someone back to your playa hut, and is that a Me Too violation? So we've got radical inclusion gifting, which the value of a gift is unconditional. Gifting does not contemplate a return. Contemplate? That's not the not the correct word there. A return or an exchange for something of equal value. I guess they're looking for like compel. Please tell me that you two boobs of society did not bring playa gifts.
I did.
You did?
Yeah.
What did you bring?
One of the guys brings, it's his tradition, he brings oranges. So he keeps them on ice so they're super cold, because everything in the middle of the day you want cold stuff. So he cuts up the oranges. We have trays, and we go out in the street, the playa street,
Okay.
in front of the bar, and we hand out oranges.
Now, I would be kind of disappointed because I was a young fat child.
Yeah.
And at the halftime of the soccer games, they would always give out the oranges.
Yeah.
And I'm always like, what the fuck is this? Where is my candy bar and my Capri Sun?
Where's my mayonnaise sandwich?
This appears to be food that falls from a tree.
Yeah.
You don't get man tits like this eating food that falls from a tree. Was there anyone that wanted radical food processing and therefore turned down the oranges?
So about 100 feet past our camp was the next camp, and they had mini golf going on. You did mini golf, and they were giving away grilled cheese sandwiches.
That's pretty delicious.
So it was sort of if you hit the oranges and you could see 100 feet ahead of you, which as long as it wasn't super dusty and windy, you could see that. And they had grilled cheese sandwiches out there. So it was, I would say most of the people that go to Burning Man are into oranges instead of grilled cheese, maybe.
I don't know. The grilled cheese place had a pretty long line.
Let me try to get the last few of these. Radical self-expression. Self-expression arises from the unique gifts of the individual. I'm assuming, and I just assume that you both shared your unique gifts with the world, including your short skirt and decorated man carriage. Leave no trace. That's pretty self-evident. Participation. And here's my favorite, because it's clear whoever wrote this last one was not high by the time they finished this list, because this makes perfect sense. $20 to anyone that can understand what is being said here. Immediacy, bro. Immediate experience is, in many ways, the most important touchstone of value in our culture. We seek to overcome barriers that stand between us and a recognition of the inner selves that, through the reality of those around us, find participation in society and contact with the natural world that exceeds human powers in all ways. No idea can be substituted for this experience. $100 to anyone that has any fucking clue what that means.
Sorry, is that a real thing, or were
That is a verbatim reading.
you weren't on like a gibberish generator?
No, that is immediacy. That is here's what I'm
I am
thinking.
immediately confused.
Yeah. And
Somebody
I got ADD, I
dropped
don't
some
even know what you
acid.
said.
They sat down to write the 10 Burning Man facts. They took some acid, smoked some dope, and started drinking alcohol. And by the time they got to the 10th commandment, they were completely housed.
I think they took a new agey book, ripped it up into pieces, and just threw darts at different pages.
Like a Mad Libs or a spin the wheel. Okay.
Yeah. It's like one of those things where you go around the circle and everybody adds a word. And the first guy's like immediacy, and the second person's like natural surroundings.
Society. Natural. So those are the 10 commandments, and I'm just going to assume that you both lived those out in your most authentic way.
Are there 10? I thought it was alternative, and there were like 9 or 11.
No, there are 10,
There are 10?
which really is not sticking it to the man.
No, that's
if you were
not.
going to stick it to the man, you'd be like 9 or 11.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I kind of want to get just a baseline because I have not experienced the playa, bro. I want to know kind of what goes on. So, desert biscuit,
Muffin.
desert muffin. How long did you stay in La Playa?
Ooh. So I left on Tuesday at 5:30 in the morning. Got there in 6 hours, which is like as good as you could possibly expect.
Okay.
Got in, and once you get off the highway, it is a solid hour drive on this playa dirt where you have to go no more than 10 miles an hour. And there are
It's an
federales.
hour off the main road.
My brother waited, I think, 8.
8
to get,
hours.
That's from the road. So you drive to Reno, you go about 3 hours north on this 2-lane road that just feels like you're going off to the moon. And then when you get off the road, Yeah, it can be an hour to get in, it can be 8, it can be 12, because they're checking all the vehicles that come in, they're checking the tickets, they're making sure you're not like sneaking people in like an old-time drive-in movie.
Yep.
And some people are getting searched by BLM.
Now, do you have like a lanyard or a wrist bracelet saying you are official?
You have a ticket.
Burner?
Just
No,
a
but like
ticket.
walking around. So if you can sneak someone in, if you sneak someone in, you're in.
They're in, yeah.
Oh, I bet this happens. I'm thinking of it like the border, like you're smuggling people.
As you get to the gate, they search your vehicle.
Yeah.
So they make you open up your van door.
Yes.
Literally your van door. They make you open that door, and they look inside, and they do a pretty decent check.
Did you guys see anyone get caught trying to sneak in desert walkers?
So I came in on the bus because they actually have
There's a bus?
Yeah, they have a charter bus that they run, or buses, but they come onto the bus and they check every person's ticket. And so they get all the way to the back of the bus, and unbeknownst to me, there were these 2 guys back there, one of whom had promised to sell the other one a ticket. And so the buyer rides with this guy on the bus all the way out to the playa.
Shit.
She scans the ticket. Beep. No good.
Oh.
And so we're all looking
Awkward.
like, oh, this poor bastard. Yeah. He just rode all the way out here, but it gets worse because the lady who was checking the tickets actually recognized him, and she's like, oh, you're the one who showed up with a bad ticket yesterday.
Oh,
well,
God.
you know the drill. Get your stuff. Get off the bus.
Oh.
Wow.
Yeah. The guy who was buying got bounced for the 2nd day in a row, got sent back to Reno.
Wow, that sounds absolutely miserable.
And then the best part is, the one, I don't think you read it, but the radical self-reliance, everything's radical or like bodacious.
I noticed that.
Yeah,
It's
there's a
kind
lot
of
of-
like late 90s surfers did a
it's-
bunch of peyote before they wrote this.
I'm pretty sure the event was founded by Crew Jones. If anyone gets that joke, I'm impressed. So anyway, one of the tenets or commandments is radical self-reliance. So there's this thing in there. It's like, what do I do if I get to the burn and my ticket doesn't work? They're like, radical self-reliance. Figure it out.
Live in the desert.
Yeah.
No grilled cheese for you.
Yeah.
No oranges at halftime. Thanks for playing.
There are some hardcore people that ride. Did you see this? They ride their bike all the way there with all their crap on their back. So they're on that highway with no bike lane from Reno or wherever the hell they come from, and they will ride all the way there. They set up this tiny little, like they're the opposite of the people that take the airplane and fly in and have all their shit carted there and then have a kitchen with a chef and all that crap. These people will ride their bike all the way there. I'm just blown away.
That's insane.
Wow. And where did you stay? Did you stay in a fancy camp? Did you stay in a tent?
I stayed with the paramedics. So they have volunteer paramedics who come in and basically if you work, I think 3 shifts, you get a free ticket. And they actually have a couple different camps. There was a fire department camp and there's a paramedic camp, and I stayed with the medics.
Let me guess. A lot of overdoses, dehydration, people falling off of shit. I feel like it's actually a pretty easy place to really hurt yourself. There are many structures to climb on.
Yeah. So there's a few directions I can go with that one. Yes, you get a lot of dehydration, a lot of people who took too much acid or probably shrooms. And the funny thing is, I didn't know this, but the way that they deal with that is there's some like hippie tent you take them to where people just hold their hands and listen to them. I'm serious. It's like a camp. It's like a central
There's
camp.
no Narcan for that?
Apparently not. The first night I was there, I kind of did a ride along, and the one call that we got, because actually there weren't that many calls, was this group of, I think they were Germans, and the boyfriend had brought 24 hits of acid and promptly administered 2 to himself, which he seemed to be doing okay, so I take it this wasn't his first rodeo. But being the worst boyfriend ever, he gave his girlfriend 2 hits as well. So she was wigging out, sitting on the ground, like eyes as big as apricots, and her friend is petting her like it's going to be okay. And we took her to the hippie tent where they hold her hand and tell her everything's going to be okay.
So do people take shifts?
miserable.
Do people take shifts
Yes.
as the hand holder person?
Yes.
Oh my God.
Yeah, no, it's a real thing. But then you also asked about people getting hurt climbing on stuff. So the most amazing one had to be the car kebab.
Yep.
I don't know if you were able to go on the car kebab.
Did not go on it. It was closed.
Yeah. So this was, imagine a like 50-foot steel I-beam vertically in the ground. So it's stuck in the ground. And they took, I want to say 7 different cars and skewered them on this I-beam like a kebab. And so it was like a Volvo and then a Ford Fiesta, and they're all just stacked on this steel beam. And apparently, I heard they weren't even really held down that well. So people would climb up the cars, and the cars would be moving around and shifting. And then at the top of that, there was a camper, like a big round camper. And so you could climb into the camper, and then you could get on the roof of that and climb up the actual I-beam. They had little notches, and you could get up to a crow's nest that was like legitimately 50 feet up in the air. And apparently multiple people climbed up to various points in the cars and got stuck in the cars. They couldn't get back down. But then somebody also fell off one of the cars and fell pretty far.
So let me ask, did they fall, or did they think they could fly?
I don't know. If it was the latter, the answer was no. But so after I want to say 2 days, they were like, maybe we shouldn't let people climb on this, and they fenced it off, which really bummed me out because I got there after they closed it.
Yeah, what is the liability?
I heard the guy died.
No, I don't think. No,
He didn't?
I don't think so.
I heard he died. Okay.
I don't think so.
Okay. Was there any drug taking between the two of you?
I stuck to alcohol, which is probably the worst drug to take on the playa because you get frickin' dehydrated.
Yeah.
And the worst
Like a hot
headaches,
tub.
the worst hangovers.
Yeah, it's awful.
So of all the drugs that you shouldn't take, the legal one, alcohol, is
Yeah.
the one that I was taking.
Yeah.
See, my problem would be this. I don't think there's anything more annoying on this earth than being sober or having a couple of beers and trying to deal with someone that is on acid or Molly and just is telling you how much they love the world and they're I love you man broing you. Did you guys ever get cornered by someone on drugs who I love you manned for an exorbitant amount of time?
A lot of the people out there, I got trapped in an RV, and this guy came in. I guess he was called Dr. Hart. And this guy came up to me and he says, and I'm in his RV, talking with people, strangers, we're chatting, and he comes in, and as soon as he came in, when a conversation just stops.
That happens to me all the time.
So everybody just stops.
That's because people don't like talking to you.
I start kind of panicking, kind of going, what's going on? And the guy, he just seems uncomfortable. He's all clammy and sweaty, and he wants to hug everybody.
Oh.
And he came up to me and he says, you have to hug heart to heart.
Oh, fuck.
And I've never experienced that till I was at Burning Man. Did you get sucked into a heart to heart hug? Not
That's
just
a
a regular
thing?
hug. We hug heart to heart.
Fuck. Like, I couldn't dislike it anymore. We talked last week about I hate when you're cheersing someone
Yes.
and they're like, you have to stare someone in the eyes or it's 10 years bad luck or some bullshit like that. Now you have to hug heart to heart. If you have to stare them in the eyes, I am so out. I could not be any more out.
But then these hugs, they last. He'll hold you
Yeah.
for a solid minute.
Yeah.
And you're ready to let go 3 seconds after the hug. Like, all right, bro, pat on the back.
Yeah.
No.
Did you keep patting him on the back and like the signal for like let me the fuck go?
I was just like ready to have an anxiety attack.
Oh my gosh.
And he just holds you, and then he's like, I can feel, like, he started talking to me kind of about how he could feel my aura or that I was a good person, and I just was like, I gotta get out of here.
Was he saying this while he was hugging you?
Yes.
Oh my God.
He was in his head, Dr. Hart. He fixes your inner being, your spirit.
So I'm
Wow.
glad you brought this up because I wanted to mention this. There's no handshake at the playa.
No.
I don't even like shaking hands. That to me is too much physical contact. Everybody hugs, and Dumpster Muffin is right. Belgian Waffle is right that it's not like a regular hug. It has to be like a deep, meaningful hug. And I don't even want the handshake. Like, I'll try to go for the high five or just the wave, and they go in for the hug, and then I'm trying to get out of there and like squirming around, and it's like a whole meaningful heart-to-heart hug. And I'm talking, this is with everybody. It's like, oh, nice to meet you, Skittle Bumpkin. Let's hug. And I'm like, no.
Oh, and the idea that they're on drugs, so they're all clammy. And is there just wicked playa BO? Like when this person is hugging you, are you just raking in their patchouli oil and stink?
Honestly, I think that the environment is so lifeless that you don't even have like the bacteria required to develop BO.
Interesting. What is the strangest event that you witnessed?
There's a lot of those, but this is more like the most impressive / strangest. Saturday night, we went out and there were a bunch of art cars. There's a bunch of these out deep in the playa, and they've kind of created a circle and just developed this impromptu rave out deep in the playa Saturday night. And we went by, we saw it maybe at like midnight, 1 a.m. And it was a jamming party, and people were all amped up and they were dancing and whatnot. So we went back. It was kind of a slow night for us. We went back, went to sleep. Happened to come back at 9:30 in the morning, and everyone is still out there. But instead of dancing, they have evolved to like that slow zombie shuffle where they're just kind of swaying back and forth. But it was 10 hours. The sun had come up. It was hot out. They were still tripping balls and dancing in the same spot. It was pretty amazing.
That gives me anxiety.
I couldn't do it. Try to keep up with people who are on 7 hits of ecstasy and a bunch of blow and Molly and God knows what else, and you're drinking white wine spritzers. Like I can roll with them for a few hours, and then I'm like, I need to go home. This is horrible.
You never met a rosé that could keep you dancing on a
not for 12 hours
on an art car for 12 hours.
No,
it's mind-boggling how some of these people get zero sleep for the whole week.
Yeah. Oh, it's not mind-boggling.
They're up all night.
It's called drugs.
They're partying. I know.
The plane flight to Vegas, best time of people's lives.
Right.
So excited, so happy. Out of Vegas on Sunday morning, it looks like a refugee line. It's like people with water. They have bags that are not zipped. There are clothes falling on the ground. They have children that are wandering because they're feral now, and they are the most depressed a human being can get. Now, I imagine if I did whatever the cool kids are doing on the playa for 3 straight days, didn't sleep, the self-shame, the hatred, the depression in that 10-hour drive off the playa, not worth it. Are there suicides on the drive out?
We know a guy, I think you know him, who's just like a normal person, and if anything, kind of a square. And he was like, yeah, I went a couple years ago and did acid every night and stayed up for 5 nights in a row. And I'm like,
oh my God,
where is this buried inside you that you're capable of this or want to do this? That sounds horrible.
I am deathly afraid, and maybe it's because I saw Reefer Madness when I was little too many times. I am deathly afraid of the bad trip. Like somewhere in some DARE class in the 80s, somebody got through to me that if you take like acid or mushrooms or something, and for whatever reason, that bus goes off the rails, like you're not right for good. I will not mess with that.
The thing too that they would do is these people that do all these drugs but don't drink alcohol look down on you for drinking alcohol. I don't know if you picked that up, Connor.
Oh.
But I was almost felt shamed a few times that, oh, you drink alcohol?
So I'm glad Mrs. Butterworth brought this up because I honestly feel like there is an undercurrent of hostility at the event. There's this sense that I'm going to radically self-express, and that means that I'm going to do whatever I want. And did you ever heard the expression "fuck your burn"?
Yes, I did.
Yeah. So it basically means like, I don't care about you and your experience because I'm radically expressing myself. So fuck your burn. And I actually a lot of times feel
that doesn't sound like radical inclusion to me.
It's not super inclusive. I feel like I am not welcome, or I'm doing something wrong, or people are looking down on you. There is a decent amount of hostility. It's kind of like, John, I think you can relate to this. Like, I have never fit in anywhere in any social group. This is the group of people who didn't fit in high school, and they were alternative and they went to rock concerts. And for whatever reason, I think they look at me and they think, not really narc, but it's like, oh, you're one of the jocks. I don't know.
You're the man.
Or
they're
the man,
sticking it to.
or like I'm not alternative enough. And so I do definitely feel like it's cliquey, I think, is what I'm trying to say.
I felt the exact same thing. And there was this place that would serve free coffee. Espresso, all these places. So you would go there in the morning and get coffee, and this guy just looked like he'd been to Burning Man for the last 30 years in a row. And I show up in the morning, and he looked at me, and I just made me feel like, I got to serve you a fucking coffee, but I really don't want to serve you a coffee.
Yeah.
Wow.
And he gave me that vibe, like, here's your coffee. My name is Lucky. What's your name? And I'm like, Belgian waffle muffin. Nice to meet you. And he just gave me that vibe of, here's your fucking coffee. But I he just didn't want to hang out with me. He didn't want to vibe with me.
I actually got kicked out of my sister's camp. Basically, the bartender just decided that she didn't like me.
You can't. What? You can't do that. Did you take this to the Playa Tribunal?
God, I should. That's a good idea.
You needed to Thunderdome it out.
I think she was doing the fuck your burn thing and just like, I've been on drugs for so long, I just don't care anymore. And she just started antagonizing me, and I was like, fuck you. And she kicked me out.
That's like turning you out to die. This is the Playa. There's no human life. Did you have any glow sticks to trade?
There's no trading, John. It's gifting.
It's gifting.
Did you have any glow sticks to gift someone in exchange for them gifting you water and or favors? Okay, more questions. Did you see anyone making dust love?
Yeah, I did.
Really?
I did. Yes.
Damn it.
Yes. Oh my God. I couldn't believe this. So I was biking around on Sunday afternoon. I see this guy leaning against the truck, and his pants are down. And I'm like, I'm going to circle in and just get a closer look at what's going on
Of
here.
course you are.
Yeah.
Yes, for investigative purposes only.
I just wanted to make sure that everyone was safe and everything was under control.
There was a lot of men with pants.
We're going to need to circle back.
Yeah, there's actually a lot of people with just no
sausage.
pants.
Yes.
But that's actually why it stood out, is because the guy had bothered to put pants on, but then put them down.
Ooh.
Because most people don't even get that far. So I took an abrupt left on the bike, and I'm just kind of doing the slow creep by, and it turns out that this guy is with a woman leaning against the cab of a Ryder truck, just doing the relations right there in the middle of everything.
Speaking of making dust babies,
Yeah.
I heard that going into this year, because of the Me Too movement, they were going to kind of put a kibosh on the Orgy Dome. Did any of you know where the Orgy Dome was?
I did 2 years ago, and I did not see the Orgy Dome this time. But 2 years ago, a buddy of mine said we have to go to the foam shower pit with like a few hundred people. You get buck naked at the beginning. They hose you off, and then they foam you, then rinse you. You're lathering up with all these people naked.
Okay.
And then rinse you, and then there's a dance party at the end. We showed up 2 years ago right as they were closing to set up right after for a wedding.
Oh my God.
Wait, there are
You
playa
have
weddings?
to get out. There's tons of playa weddings.
Would you have joined in the foam pit?
I was super nervous going over there thinking, I don't know if I can do this. And I kind of felt like I got off, no pun intended, because they were closing. And so I didn't have to actually decide. But I'm one of those people that will just show up and make the decision on the spot.
Got it.
And this year I never found the orgy tent. I wasn't looking for it, but you rode by it last time, and I did not go to
Now,
the
does orgy
foam
tent
pit.
like labeled like...
Oh, yeah, it says orgy outside.
It literally
Big
says
giant orgy tent.
Hey, thumbs up for honesty. Yeah. I need to understand the logistics of the orgy tent. Does one simply walk up, park their bike, disrobe, and go into the orgy tent? Is there an angry person outside saying, "You with the lollipop head, you are not allowed"?
No. So this is I think is the misperception. It's not an orgy in the sense that you just go in there and it's a free for all.
And it's Caligula.
It's actually BYOO. You have to bring your own orgy.
What?
Yeah.
Why would you, if you have an orgy, which is hard, orgies are hard to come by. Yeah. I've never had one. And so if I have an orgy, I'm not going to be like, hey, excuse me, everyone that has been kind enough to do this orgy, let's take our orgy to a tent that is labeled orgy tent, because that's where the orgies are supposed to happen.
My knowledge is based on reading the sign that was outside of the
tent. It said BYOOG?
Yeah.
BYO orgy?
Yes.
Again, logistics.
And I don't want to follow somebody else's orgy. Like, why would I want to go to a place that just had an orgy and have my orgy in that
there's
orgy?
multiple going on at one time.
Now, is the Pisu Mujado?
But you can't join in their orgy because that's not your orgy.
Yes. Yes.
God.
Now, here's my question. How many does it take to be a bring your own orgy? If I show up with a couple of buddies and we're just like, yeah, we're down to orgy, do you have to show up with is there a limit to the...
Well, how close are you with these buddies you speak of?
It's a hypothetical, Connor. We're not... Connor's taking notes. Tell the story in detail, John.
Well, if you're asking if 3 dudes can show up and be like, "Hey, are there some ladies here for us?" The answer is no.
Well, they don't know what kind of orgy you're into.
If you're asking, can 3 dudes can show up and be like, "Hey, the 3 of us want to
thruple."
Yeah, can we thruple? Then the answer is probably yes.
That's what you do. You show up with 3 dudes and you say, "We're gonna thruple." And then, I mean, what are they going to be like? You have yet to thruple. There's somebody with a clipboard. There's somebody. I've
All right,
been following
everybody,
you for
meet
15
back here
minutes,
in an hour.
And I was told there would be thruppling. You, sir, and
you're gonna need to put that in there,
yes.
and he's gonna go over there.
Desert Danish, you need to come over here by Lollipop Head.
I don't think the people that go to the orgy tent are any people that I would want to have an orgy with.
That's what I was telling Conor about the nude beach, because Conor frequents the nude beaches. And I have frequently said that general society is a 5. Anywhere someone is willing to give up sex without much work on the front end is an orgy I don't really want to be involved in.
Agreed.
That's like the old Woody Allen quote. I'd never be a member of a club that would have me as a member.
Yes. Okay. Well said. Yeah. I would never go into an orgy dome that would allow me into an orgy dome. Okay. Couple of last few questions. Did you network with any of Silicon Valley's top talent? I hear this is a big thing.
I did not, but I do have one quick story. I did meet, and this ties in with the gift I received.
Okay.
I was working the bar, and this gorgeous girl comes up to me at the bar. She's by herself, which is random to see a really cute person by themselves. She works on cruise ships doing aerial stuff. So she says the word, which I'd never heard. She says she's an aerialist. So later on, my buddy's wife walks up and says, "Who are you chatting with?" I forgot her name, so that was the first awkward part. And she says, "Oh, I'm Laura." And then I go, "Oh, yeah, and it's super cool. She's an aerialist." I then just put my foot in my mouth a second time.
Did you play it off like you did?
So the conversation just went wah. Soon after meeting my buddy's wife and calling her an aerialist and forgetting her name, she said, "It's been real.
It's been real, Aunt Jemima, but I'm going to go."
Aerialist.
Okay, as much as it saddens me, I feel like we are nearing the end. Are there any other stories that you feel from the playa need to be shared?
Yeah.
Conor?
Yeah. I've got a cautionary tale. This was crazy. So a couple hours after I arrived, the leader of our camp stands up on a table and gives an impromptu speech, which is kind of a common thing, I guess.
Was it like Independence Day?
Yes, it was totally like Independence Day. Like, today we choose to fight back. Except she gets up and she goes, "So I just want to let everyone know that Sally Wags was biking around, and there are people who will stand out mostly on Esplanade and will spray you with one of those water spritzers because it's so freaking hot and dry that it's like it's the most amazing feeling of relief." And she says, "So Saddlebags was biking along and somebody sprayed him, and it turns out that the spray was laced, and he's now having a really bad trip, and he's in the hippie camp with people holding his hands. So be very careful about letting anybody spritz you. And also, this is why we have our own bar and our own food. You shouldn't accept drinks or food from anybody else." And I'm like, isn't that the whole point of the event?
Wow.
I was very
terrifying.
nervous about that, eating and taking drinks from strangers as well, that I would, and people said, "Oh no, that's totally defies Burning Man."
There was a lot of speculation amongst me that this story was bogus.
It sounds pretty bogus.
Because
how do you lace a hose full of? Do you know how much acid
you would have to put in there?
You would have a 55-gallon drum.
Yeah. Of acid.
That is not cost effective.
And because imagine, most of it's getting just sprayed into the air. The little bit that gets on his face, that has to get in his mouth and his nose and has to be strong enough to force him to go to the hippie tent. I think that he took something and it didn't agree with him, and he wanted to push blame onto someone else.
You are 100% right.
But nonetheless, it made me never accept anything from anybody. Because as soon as I got there, they're like, "Oh, by the way, everything's laced. Don't touch anything."
But gifting, bro. What about the gifting?
That sounds horrible.
And then my one other favorite story, one of the medics in our camp had a call because this dude was hammered driving his art car around in the playa and lost it. and he was just walking around trying to find his car.
Lost his car. Have you seen a giant elephant car?
I'm looking for my dolphin car.
He's got his keychain and he's hitting the honk button to see if he can find it.
And so the medic drove him around.
God.
The medic drove him around for like 25 minutes.
I parked
you
it near.
find your car.
Bro, I parked it near some sand.
It's
there was
all
a
lit
there were-
up.
So if we could just find those bicycles and the girls wearing goggles, it's by them. Oh my God.
There were so many theories
That is
about
hilarious.
where it may have ended up.
so
Was it
frickin'
stolen?
funny.
Does he not even have an art car? Is the whole thing a hallucination?
Oh, that would be awesome.
That's hilarious. There is no art car.
I was just riding on one.
That is so funny. So let me end the Burning Man segment with this. I will not be going
No.
unless something radical changes. Muffin Desert Waffle. Will you be attending again? How many burns have you been to? 2?
This was my second.
And will you be burning again next year?
No, I will not be burning again. And it's funny. I own a van with a guy
did you
that
age
hosts
out?
a podcast, and he was very clear about keeping this van as dust free as possible. So I did feel like I did a good job accomplishing not getting a ton of dust into the van. At one point, I thought, what would be great is if I just drove there, never leave the inside of the van at Burning Man. I just look out the window and watch for 5
Like
days.
a fishbowl.
Like a fishbowl.
You're up against the window, like you
No
don't look
dust!
You don't look creepy at all.
Got no dust in this thing
There's
at all.
a man wearing ladies' knits inside of a van, and he's just been pressed against the window for 2 days.
His face is wilted like a
He's
raisin.
not looking good.
He may have.
There's
heat
zero
stroke.
dust in here. Zero.
Well, we learned many, many things when we talked about the burn. We learned about the orgy dome, about grilled cheese sandwiches, and why one should never be sprayed with a hose because someone may have invested $500,000 into LSD to make you trip balls when they spray you with that hose.
And you'll have to go to the hippie tent and have your hand held.
We learned that playa names are stupid, but we already knew that.
I think we knew that one going in.
We learned that Steven Seagal may be the best honeypot I have ever seen when it comes to content. And lastly, we have learned that I am incredibly sexist when I set the temperature in the studio to 72 degrees. On next week's show, it will be 77 for my bitch of a co-host.
I think bitch is problematic, John.
Oh, fuck. All right, thanks, everybody. We'll see you next week.
Vladimir Putin.
Thanks for listening to Wildcard. See live podcasts and pics from the show on Instagram and Facebook, or visit us online at wildcardshow.com.
Vladimir Putin. Vladimir Putin.